Hi, everyone. Today we are talking about weight loss supplements that actually work and that don't jack you up, meaning you don't feel jittery or like you're crawling out of your skin or like you're basically going to have a heart attack. If you remember back in the days of Hydroxycut and Redline, if you were in the gym scene back in the 90s, this will strike a chord deep in your heart and you'll have fond memories of feeling like you were crawling out of your skin as you were trying to burn fat. So, this is going to be a game changer for you. And you can probably hear the excitement in my voice. The latest introduction, the latest member of the family to the Fixxr line is Metabolism Fixxr. And this, oh my God, I formulated this just for all my people out there that need to lose weight, that need help in the weight loss department, that can't lose weight no matter what they do, that feel like they have a slow metabolism, and that might be thinking of trying all those peptides out there, you know, the Beverly Hills soccer mom drug of choice for weight loss peptides. Or even if you're on them already and you're like, man, these are really expensive and I'm still not losing weight, add in Metabolism Fixxr. Here's what I did. I took the power of T2, which increases your basal metabolic rate while you are sitting there watching Netflix. You're burning fat while you're watching Netflix. I combined it with a very unique patented ingredient called Suppressa. Suppressa has multiple clinical trials backing its efficacy in reducing your appetite, decreasing snacking, and providing way more control over your food intake. It is amazing. We also see improved emotional well-being, just decreased food cravings all around, reduced hunger, and weight management. Add on top of that, we have green tea extract, we have purple forest purple tea extract, both of which affect the metabolism in a very positive way without the jitters of normal fat burning supplements out there from the 1980s and 90s, right? The ones that made you feel like you're having a heart attack. You will not have that in any of my supplements, Thyroid Fixxr or Metabolism Fixxr. But Metabolism Fixxr, ooh, yeah, we kicked it up a notch. It is in powder form, so you can drink it through your day. It's going to flavor your water. We got orange crush and refreshing citrus. I love them both. It is going to keep you under control all day long. So you throw a couple scoops in your water bottle in the morning, throw a scoop or two in your water bottle throughout the day. You will have fat burning and appetite control the entire day for what? An eighth of a price of the peptides? Oh my God, you can't go wrong. So grab some Metabolism Fixxr today. Please let me know how you do on it. I am super excited for you. Super excited. So today we're going to talk about actual supplements for fat burning, and they may or may not even be advertised that way. So they're not the ones that are on the GNC shelves with a before and after picture that's been airbrushed to the max of a fat person looking skinny again. No. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about therapeutic supplements that you can use in your protocol, paired up with changes in your nutrition, paired up with proper exercise. We talked about that last week. You can always go back and listen to that episode of the proper exercise to do with hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's. And of course, we are talking about using these in addition to optimizing your thyroid if you do have a thyroid problem. The Thyroid Fix podcast is sponsored by Designs for Health. So here's why I love Designs for Health products. They are family owned and operated. Everything is made in the USA. They have not sold out. I'm going to repeat that. They haven't sold out to a big corporation or company like Nestle or Bayer or Amway, like so many of the used to be pretty darn good supplement companies have done. They are still family owned and operated. They have a physician on staff for practitioners to call in and ask questions to, which is phenomenal, especially when we're trying to figure out, hey, is this supplement exactly right for you, or should we do another one? Their philosophy is science first. So they make sure that their products actually do what they're supposed to do. And that's key. They're not that much more expensive. Quit buying from Amazon. Quit buying from Walmart. You want Designs for Health products because they are backed by science. I promise you that. So down in the show notes, we will have the link to order Designs for Health supplements. They always give you free shipping. And if you use the code that we will put down there and it's your first order, so the code is FIRST20 now, use that code and that gets you 20% off your first order. Let me know how you like them. So that being set aside, let's dive into the different supplements that you can use right now to help you burn body fat and why. So number one at the top of my list, as you have heard me talk about before, is berberine. Berberine is a plant alkaloid. And what it does is its mechanism of action is to lower blood sugar and insulin. And we have seen it work just like metformin. There are scientific studies, there's medical literature out there. You can go to Google Scholar and do a search for berberine and insulin resistance, berberine and type 2 diabetes. And you will find a host of articles where berberine works exactly like metformin to lower A1C, to lower insulin, and to lower blood sugar. Now, when we're using this in conjunction with metformin, we have to be careful that your blood sugar doesn't drop too low. Some people will experience that deep drop in their blood sugar where they get a little bit lightheaded. So we have to almost monitor the dosing of berberine if you are using it with metformin. And for that matter, we have to monitor the dosing of berberine if you're using it alone, because sometimes that's enough to drop your blood pressure and your blood sugar. So the recommended dose is 400 micrograms 3 times a day. And usually that is paired up with alpha lipoic acid, which also works very well on glucose and insulin levels. Now, the berberine that I use is Berberine Synergy by Designs for Health, and we'll definitely give you a link for that. I've used this with type 2 diabetic patients. You may have heard me talk about the one patient that I had that was insulin dependent type 2 and absolutely refused to be on insulin the rest of his life. And through the use of a low carb diet paired up with berberine, and he was on metformin as well, those 3 things in conjunction allowed him to discontinue his use of insulin after 6 weeks. And per his A1C, starting at a 13.9, it dropped to a 5.4, which is technically no longer diabetic. That was in 6 months. So the effect is phenomenal as long as you're not eating, McDonald's and sheets on the side and hoping that you're going to throw in some berberine and have it save the day. This has to be in conjunction with a proper nutrition plan that works for you and for your body, preferably designed by somebody that you're working with that knows you and has looked at all of your labs and knows what kind of medical conditions you are currently dealing with. And that way, nutrition plan can be tailored to you and also taking into account, your schedule and your life. And do you have kids or husband, all that good stuff that can kind of mess up your eating plan, right? So it really should be tailored to you and what is going on in your body. Okay, so that is berberine, Designs for Health berberine. It's paired with ALA 3 times a day. And let me say this too, if you do experience gastrointestinal side effects, so we use berberine as part of a GI healing protocol. If you experience gastrointestinal side effects, such as diarrhea, loose stool, a little bit of nausea, that actually is giving us feedback that your gut needs some repair done. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't mean that you will be intolerant to berberine for the rest of your life. It just means that you need some gut repair and some gut healing prior to moving into a higher dose of berberine. So it's giving you some feedback. Now, the other benefit of berberine is that it does alter the gut microflora in a good way. So it's actually helping your gut produce beneficial bacteria, beneficial microflora to almost re-inoculate the gut. Now, we know that when your gut is re-inoculated and producing the right flora, that improves your immune system. And then it also does help with weight loss, because when you don't have the proper strains of probiotics, the proper strains of gut flora in your gut doing the job, and remember, we have trillions of gut bacteria, trillions, not billions. So when you pick up that little probiotic and you think it's going to do a miracle because you're taking 100 billion CFUs of whatever different strain, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. We've talked about that before in the immune segments that we've done as to not taking probiotics every single day, not taking the same probiotic every single day. Don't rely on eating a line yogurt or a live yogurt or whatever it is that's marketed by Jamie Lee Curtis. And it's all of a sudden going to reinoculate your gut to this beautiful garden of healthy bacteria and you're going to lose weight. But there is something to having the proper balance of gut microflora to weight loss. And there are studies on that as well. I encourage you to look into that. But tying it back around, berberine will help with gut microflora balance as well, which will also give you another edge in helping you to lose weight. And the other thing that the berberine does is when it's lowering your insulin and glucose, your cravings actually go down. So you will notice curbing of sugar and carbohydrate cravings, because when you think about the biological mechanism of your body is spiking and dropping, spiking and dropping. So if you're insulin resistant or if you're having trouble losing weight, you're most likely on that blood sugar roller coaster of high blood sugar and then low blood sugar. And in those lows, your body is literally telling you, you need to go eat. And we prefer if you go eat carbohydrates and sugar, because that's what's going to get your blood sugar up quickly. And that's what's going to work the fastest out of any food. Your body's not really nudging you to go eat an avocado. It's nudging you to go to the vending machine or go eat some bread or go eat some sugar. So those carb and sugar cravings will subside as you come into more balance, as that roller coaster becomes a more wave-like pattern. Okay, number 2 on the list would be vitamin D. Again, break out your Google Scholar. Do some research on this. Low vitamin D levels. And when I say low, I'm using the functional medicine optimal range of above an 80. Well, 70 to 90. I'm pretty stoked if you're at 75. I'm not going to bash you for being at 75 and not 80, but let's say roundabout average of optimal is 80. So we want healthy, higher, optimal vitamin D levels for you in order for you to lose weight. Now, there are many, many studies out that show that low vitamin D levels set you up for insulin resistance. So see how we're tying it back to the berberine and the insulin resistance. So low vitamin D will disrupt your gut microflora. Hello, we just talked about that. And it will also set you up for a greater risk of type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is just another word for pre-diabetes. So you may have heard your doctor say that you are pre-diabetic. And then we also have to pull in that whole scenario of what number do you actually go by. So glucose, we like below an 86. Insulin, fasting insulin, we like below a 6. And hemoglobin A1C, we like around a 5 or 5.1. So when we are looking at optimal for insulin resistance and prediabetes, those are the numbers to go by. So you might have been told that you're pre-diabetic. Maybe you weren't. Don't know. But either way, vitamin D, you want to keep those levels optimal in order to stay out of that high-risk category of developing insulin resistance. Number 3 would be beta-hydroxybutyrate. So BHB. Beta-hydroxybutyrate is an exogenous ketone. And many of you have heard me talk about the Keto-Nootropic drink by Designs for Health. So how I stumbled upon the Keto-Nootropic drink is I have been using low-carb dieting, ketogenic dieting for a long time now because I am insulin resistant. I have PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. So that produces insulin resistance, and that makes me more sensitive to carbohydrates. And even once I have taken the berberine and taken the metformin, I still find that my body does not tolerate high carbohydrate diets. So I tend to stay in ketosis, or at least in a low carbohydrate state, oftentimes cycling my carbs, maybe doing a little bit higher on some days and then dropping down other days. So through the years, I have been studying, even for myself, for my own knowledge, as well as what I use on my patients, the use of a ketogenic diet as beneficial for Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, ADD, ADHD, autism, and the list goes on and on and on. In addition to lowering inflammation, using it with certain autoimmune conditions, and of course, using it for weight loss and to lower type 2 diabetes risk, to improve type 2 diabetes and to reverse type 2 diabetes and to reverse insulin resistance. So the ketogenic diet has many, many benefits to it. So I've been researching it for a while and looking at the use of exogenous ketones to push someone into a deeper state of ketosis very much intrigued me. So I started exploring. I mean, the research was there, and it just kind of makes sense when you think about it. When you're in a state of ketosis naturally, let's say how you're doing your diet, you're doing a low carb diet, and you're in that state of ketosis, when you measure your ketones, if you are using like a keto mojo meter, when you measure your ketones, you want to be at 0.5 or above. And if you are at, let's say 0.7 or you're at a 1, that's great. You are in that state of ketosis, meaning your body is using ketones for energy and is burning your own body fat for fuel, to fuel your muscles, to fuel your brain, to give you energy. So you are actually tapping into body fat to be used as fuel. Now, when you're in a deeper state of ketosis, let's say you push that ketone level to 1.8, 1.9, or 2 or above, then you are in technically a deeper state of fat burning. And some people do tend to need that extra kick in the pants, that extra nudge to get into a deeper state of ketosis. Now, when I first started actually measuring my ketones, I would come up, really anywhere between a low, some days, 0.3, or sometimes I would hit 0.5 or above. But I never really gone into like the 2s. And I would hear people that would fast. And I even did a 3-day fast at one point. I did a 72-hour fast and I still could not, I think maybe I hit a 2, but I certainly wasn't hitting 2.5 and 3 and 3.5 and 4 that you hear all these fasting gurus talk about. So I just was not getting there, but I knew I was in a state of fat burning and I was certainly reaping the benefits of the ketones. So I decided to look into different exogenous ketones, and I tried a couple different companies. There's a lot of multi-level marketing companies out there that are producing and selling and kind of pushing exogenous ketones and the benefits of, and there are benefits. But the one that so Designs for Health, you guys know I love them. They came out with a Keto-Nootropic. They came out with a whole keto line. And one of their supplements that they released was Keto-Nootropic, which was beta-hydroxybutyrate, along with the different minerals and electrolytes needed. So magnesium, sodium, potassium, calcium in the form of BHB. And oftentimes we need those when someone is first starting off on a ketogenic diet. They're not drinking enough water. We have to add more salt. So that helps kind of get through that brain foggy, sluggish feeling in the beginning, but it's also good just on a daily basis to have. So I ordered a bottle and I started using 1 scoop and about 20 ounces of water daily. And first of all, I just loved it. I love the flavor. It tastes like Tang. So I became addicted to it right there. And then in about a month, I noticed my clothes were fitting differently. So like even things like, this Lululemon jacket, right? So I put it on. This is the new one, but I had another one, my green one that I love that you see me in all the time. And I just noticed like through my waist, it wasn't as snug. I didn't feel like I was being like compressed in a bad way where it's kind of a little bit tight. Clothes were just fitting better. And then after a couple of months, my brain was working better. I had better cognition, better focus, better energy. And then fast forward a few months from there, shorts were starting to fall off me in the summer, and I was fitting into jeans that I had saved from Buckle that I refused to give away from 2010. And I used to not even be able to get my thigh into them. So it really pushed me into that deeper state of ketosis and helped with more fat burning. Absolutely 100% it did. And really when I tested the other ones before I used the Keto-Nootropic, I just found that my ketones really didn't go up that much. I didn't feel that much different. So there's something to beta-hydroxybutyrate in general as an exogenous ketone. And then of course, finding the right company that produces a good one, right? That's actually going to work when it goes into your body. Okay, so those are my top 3 supplements. None of them produce a jittery feeling. None of them amp you up like things that contain caffeine and herbamate. And what was that? What was the one in hydroxycut? Well, ephedra, right? So that was outlawed and pulling off the shelves because people were having heart attacks. Although, listen, the ECA stack back in the day, it was great if we didn't abuse it. So ephedrine, caffeine, and aspirin, total fat burning stack. But with that comes side effects. It's a little bit hard on the heart, right? It works like an amphetamine. Ephedra is a derivative. So it's going to kind of hit your heart. So those with AFib or any kind of cardiac issues, can't do it. You need an alternative source. And just in general, and working with my patients, I really don't recommend any kind of stimulants unless we are really stuck, and they're prescribed and you're monitored and all that, using them for short term for a kickstart in terms of weight loss. But naturally over-the-counter, non-stimulant supplements that you can take to help you lose weight: berberine, vitamin D. Oh, vitamin D has to be paired with K. Vitamin D has to be paired with K. So you are safe doing around 5,000 IUs per day with vitamin K. Usually a really good supplement, the one that I recommend, vitamin D Supreme or the Ultra 10K from Designs for Health, both have K in them. So either 5,000 or 10,000 IUs per day, depending on how low your number is. Listen, if you're down in the teens and the 20s, even the 30s, I would go with 10K, because the rule of thumb with vitamin D, and I know I'm circling back to this, but the rule of thumb with vitamin D is 10,000 IUs per day used for 1 month will raise your vitamin D by 10 points. 20,000 IUs used per day for 1 month will raise your vitamin D by 20 points. So if you're in the crapper with vitamin D and you're 20, it's going to take you a while to get to 75, 80. So you might have to do 10,000, 20,000 IUs per day of vitamin D to get there. But I promise you it will be worth it. Your energy will go up and you will see an improvement in your fat loss efforts. So I hope this helps. As always, please share this because listen, especially now, right? Heading into the holidays. So I'll be using my berberine and my Keto-Nootropic drink. And of course I take vitamin D every day because come on. Immune system, hello, cold and flu season. But heading into the holidays, I'll be using sometimes a little bit extra berberine. Sometimes I'll use 4 per day. Sometimes I will do 2 scoops of the Keto-Nootropic drink if it happens to be a Christmas cookie kind of day, or there's some extra carbs, or you're going out to eat and having that burger with a bun on it instead of no bun and that shameful lettuce that just doesn't taste as good. So you can actually use the Keto-Nootropic drink and the berberine as a crutch, as like a little safety net. That is not a green light to go hog wild, but you can use it on those days where you know you're going to be off a little bit. And we all have them because you're human, and I have them too. So, okay, hopefully this helps. We will put the links in the show notes so you can grab them yourself. Take care and happy holidays. Thank you so much for listening to the Thyroid Fix podcast. As always, please share this with anyone that you know that needs this information. And I guarantee you there's a lot of people out there and in your life who do. Also, please remember that anything that you hear on this podcast is not intended to diagnose or treat. So you always want to check with your doctor about any advice given that you hear on this podcast. And if you would like to book a discovery call, a free discovery call, to go over everything that's going on with you and to go over how I can help you, please go to my website at amiehornaman.com. The link is always in the show notes. And click on book a call. Choose a time and a day that's right for you. And we will see how we can help you. Thanks for listening.